Hi guys, Dave G again. Welcome to another Turning Timeout. Um, Today I wanted to sort of show off one of my newest tools. This is my new Carbide turning tool, courtesy of Will over at WH Creations. It's a lovely piece of kit. It's incredibly strong. It's got, you can see the carbide tip. Each one of these, in case anybody's never used carbide before, these are incredibly sharp, and they hold an edge really well. But also they're numbered, so they've got a number on each corner, so that as it does start to dull and lose its edge, you can just loosen off this screw in the centre and turn it to the next number, and then away you go. So you've got 4 sharp edges to use there. It's made with, I think this is something like 12mm steel, so it's really substantial. It's incredibly well balanced. You know, it's a nice hefty tool. It's a good length as well. It's really nice to hold on the rest and tuck the handle in when you're using it. It's got a really nice copper ferrule on it, and I don't know if you can pick that up on the camera, but Will's actually done some Lichtenberg burning on it, but he's also highlighted it, picked it out and highlighted it in red, which I absolutely love. I think it looks fantastic. It feels really good in the hand, and it cuts like absolute butter, like a knife through butter. You can see these are some of the shavings. I cut some wood shavings, and they're so fine. They're so fine when they come off, and I did an acrylic pen as well, and the ribbons and the streams I was getting off of it was just fantastic. So yeah, I can highly recommend carbide tools if anyone's thinking of buying carbide tools. I'd definitely say it's worth having a set. I've got a I'm going to get a circle one as well. I think he does a triangle one as well. But yeah, I'm definitely going to get another one, if not 2, so I can have the full set, and then I can add that to my set of wood turning tools. I'll put all the links below to Will's to Will's site and his bits and bobs. I've also managed to pick up a set of Robert Sorby. You can see that. These were on offer to me from somebody I know, who was looking to sell them. They'd been in storage for a while, so there was a few rust spots, but just a little bit of WD-40 and some wire wool, and I've been cleaning those up a bit. But phenomenal tools. Absolutely love them, and I've got a set of, I think it was seven tools, including a swan neck parting tool, the swan neck hollowing tool, the roughing gouge, a couple of spindle gouges, and yeah, so seven chisels in all. 70 quid. I don't think that's too bad. £10 a chisel, especially Robert Sorby. So yeah, I was quite impressed with that. And you know, goodbye. But so if you ever see for anyone who's starting out, I know that chisels obviously is something that people start getting into and say, okay, well I've got myself a lathe, I've got some wood, now I'm going to go out and buy chisels, and then they look at the price of chisels and think, you know, 40-50 quid a chisel, do I really want to pay that much? So I went out and I purchased from Amazon a set of, was it Amazon or was it eBay? Might have been eBay. A set of cheap chisels. I believe they're carbon steel, but to be honest with you, they're awful. They were very, very cheap. I think the whole set of 6 or 7 chisels cost me something like, if I said 20 quid, I think it'd be too much. I think it was like 16, 17 pounds, something like that. And I thought, oh, they'll do for now until I understand better what I'm doing. What I found was, and don't get me wrong, they work, they do work, but what I found was they don't hold an edge incredibly well. For starters, they come without a real edge on them. They arrived in the post without a real edge on them. So the first thing you have to do is sharpen them. So if you're new to turning and you're new to chisels, there's a good chance you probably haven't got a massive clue about sharpening and maybe haven't got the equipment to sharpen. I haven't. I've got some diamond card things that, but aside from that, I didn't really have a clue what I was doing. What I found was, I thought that, oh, that's great, they'll get me going, but I found that I actually, you don't get the real benefit from them because you're learning with inferior quality tools. So you either limit the learning you can do, or it affects the performance. So you think you're doing something wrong when actually you're not doing anything wrong. It's just the tools aren't really up to the job. So what I would say is there's probably about, I don't know, 4 or 5, certainly no more than half a dozen chisels that anyone would need to start actually turning. So you know, your roughing gouge, your spindle gouge, and you know, a skew chisel and a parting tool, those kind of things. They're really the ones that you need to start off with. And I'd say anyone that's looking to start out, you could do a lot worse than go with carbide, because they're going to hold their edge longer. They don't. You can sharpen carbide, but you don't actually have to. You can, you know, use all 4 edges until it's blunt and then unscrew it, throw it away and get a new carbide tip. It's as simple as that. And they're not super expensive. Obviously you can get them varying prices. I guess it's the old adage of you get what you pay for, but in my experience, you know, this is working fantastic for me. It's a different feel for turning, so I still like the traditional, you know, the traditional tools. I mean, there's, you know, you can go down these are high speed steel, so these are HSS chisels, but you'll also see, like, you can get the cryogenic ones, which are very expensive. I think it's M2 steel and all this kind of stuff. So there's lots of different types you can get, but I would say to start out with, it's worth investing money in a good set of chisels. So you can use carbide. And certainly I would recommend getting a set of carbides and probably a set of traditional high-speed steel tools as well. You know, like I say, the standard sort of gouges and parting tool, that kind of stuff. I mean, I've got like that's a bowl scraper and a swan neck hollowing tool as well. But I mean, I only picked those up because they were all part of the set. I wouldn't have necessarily rushed out to buy a swan neck hollowing tool, you know. But the other thing about buying cheap is the set that I bought, this cheap set, I had a catch, as you invariably do. So what you'll find is that when you first start, it's quite common to, or I believe it's quite common to learn from experience. And my experience was that I got quite a heavy catch in a piece of holly I was turning, and it snapped the chisel. So you can see it took the end clean off there. Fortunately, I had my respirator on at the time, so I had full face coverage. So I think the end, from what I remember, as it snapped, the end just pinged to the floor, and fortunately I had a good grip on it, so it didn't fly off and hit me in the face or anything. But it could have been a lot worse, and it just sort of demonstrates. And I don't know, I'm not an expert. I would imagine it could happen with many tools, but I think because of the quality, it was more likely the cheap tools. So I guess what I'm saying is that there's ways that you can save money, like not spending a fortune for wood turning blanks. Just get bits of, I don't know, fence post or something to start off and just have a go at hogging away at some wood. And then there's other ways that people try to save money, like buying cheap chisels that in the long run it really doesn't help at all. You're better off trying to save up enough money to buy yourself a decent set of chisels, or failing that, go on eBay and, you know, sites like that, Gumtree or whatever, and have a look and see what people are selling, because quite often you'll get used chisels that have got, you know, still a fair bit of life left in them, certainly enough for you to get started with. So yeah, so that's kind of my take on chisels. So yeah, so if you like my video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give it the thumbs down. Feel free to leave me a comment below, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. You can hit the bell and get notified when I put new videos on. And yeah, I appreciate all the support, and happy turning. Cheers guys.